I think XPR could be such a big narrative for this bull run. And I don't only just believe that because I hypothetically see it go into the price of 25 cents during this bull run. But another bigger reason is because I think that this is a very special project that's piggybacking off the hype of Ripple, aka XRP, and Stellar, aka XLM, which I don't think is a bad thing, by the way, because there's a lot of hype there. And a lot of it, naturally, I think is going to trickle down to here. It's much like, for instance, Pepe. That did very well, in my opinion, just because people thought it was going to be the next Shiba Inu or Dogecoin. I think this is no different, and let me explain why. Because when you take a look at the XPR network, it's a proof-of-stake layer 1 blockchain, which some people may think, okay, that's not that special. There's so many out there, and I'll agree with that. But again, the special thing about XPR is the fact that when it comes to the XPR network, more specifically, it's even been stated that allegedly it is ISO 20022 compatible as a blockchain. Now, why is this massive? Especially when it comes to these projects that are focused on global trade and finance and the payments market, which I do believe XPR is. But even besides that, the reason why this is so amazing is because when you take a look at ISO 20022, that right there is currently being used by many financial institutions from all around the world for inter-organizational data exchange. So again, it's something that's already widespread. It's something that's already, well used, I would say. And you take a look at other projects that are kind of similar to this, right? Again, I think you're beginning to understand how something like Ripple or Stellar or even some projects like XDC is very similar to something like XPR. And that's a big narrative right there. Again, ISO 20022. A lot of people love that, and so do I. And I think it really completes the fact that it is focused on the global trade and finance market. Now, we take a look at, for instance, when it comes to XPR, it's even been stated as well that when it comes to, again, its network, again, the XPR network, it does provide an alternative to traditional payment systems like ACH and SWIFT. Now, we all know SWIFT is massive, right? But even besides that, we take a look at Visa and MasterCard. And yeah, you heard that right. Visa, MasterCard, they're really popular. But even besides that, they're doing this through an innovative resource model. So when you take a look at something like this, doesn't play around. It's a very fantastic project. We take a look at why is being focused on the same markets as Ripple and Stellar really a good thing, because the payments market is currently valued at over $2 trillion, while the global trade and finance market is already massive, but it's even predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. So when you take a look at something like this is very amazing. Now, the good thing about this market, in my opinion, is the fact that because of the Ripple and SEC case, because of the flood and fear that happened as a result of that, for quite a while, not many developers were willing to join in on this space. Now, the reason why I think that happened was because there was a lot of bad optics when it comes to this space, because I think a lot of these developers, they probably thought that, okay, we're going to use a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of effort. We're going to build an amazing project, but then it's in a space that has a lot of, uncertainty. So I think probably a lot of these developers instead opted for AI projects, maybe, gaming projects, DeFi, NFTs, whatever the case may be. But could that have been a mistake? Maybe, because now there isn't that many dynamic competitors. It's pretty much Ripple and Stellar, but then there's no clear, dynamic competitors beyond that. Of course, we know XDC, we know XCN, we know Zebec, right, aka ZBCN. We take a look at something like Ondo. But then really beyond that, what are the good competitors? I mean, of course, there's XPR. Of course, I'm talking about that right now, but I'm saying still, for a market that massive, it's actually kind of comical, right? It's actually kind of funny to see that there isn't that many competitors, because usually we take a look at, for instance, the NFT market, right? The NFT market is predicted to reach over $200 billion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. That's a significantly smaller market than, let's say, the payments market even currently, which is valued at over $2 trillion, let alone the global trade and finance market, which could be, again, worth up to $5 trillion by 2028. I would argue that there's more reputable competitors within that space when compared to this, which is kind of, again, insane to see, because this space actually should have way more competitors, in my opinion. So actually, in the grand scheme of things, the Ripple and SEC case, in my opinion, was a blessing in disguise. Because again, not many developers wanted to join in on this space. Now, it's a free-for-all. XPR has the time to shine, but only time will tell. However, I think it at least has the opportunity to. And logically speaking, just mathematically, evaluating this, right? If there isn't that many dynamic competitors, or should I say not even that many options to begin with, when there's a lot of FOMO and a lot of attention comes into this space, naturally, the very few options that do exist are going to have a higher probability to be chosen, as opposed to if, let's say, it had like 100 or 50 dynamic competitors. It's only fair to assume that. So I think XPR is in this fantastic position. Now, why is reaching 25 cents not too much to ask for? It's because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $7 billion. Keep in mind, that's around a 48x from here. Now, a $7 billion market cap, give or take, that's not that bad. We've seen Dogecoin reach over $80 billion of market cap. We've seen Shiba Inu reach around $40 billion. This was back in 2021, by the way, a time where there was far less crypto owners than today. Keep in mind, during the peak of that bull run in 2021, there was roughly around 300 million crypto owners. Now there's over 600 million, according to Crypto.com research. Not to mention, even XRP as of right now has a market cap that is well beyond $100 billion. XPR can't, let's say, go to run a $7 billion market cap? I don't see why not. Again, especially as of right now with this many amazing new crypto owners. Not to mention, we take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption. This could be very amazing. And we do know that this isn't even the end of the race yet, because typically altcoins, as a worst case scenario, historically speaking, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now again, this is as a worst case, usually, but it isn't a guarantee. If anything, in my opinion, it's more so of a benchmark based out of history, but I'll pay attention because I think near the end of 2025, XPR could hypothetically do very amazing. However, only time will tell. There's no guarantees here. Now, why do I think this market could also be very good for something like XPR? It's because now that people are no longer scared of Ripple and, the SEC case, now that people are no longer caring about that, and also now that people are no longer scared of like Stellar, aka XLM, this could be amazing because now people know how massive, the markets that they're focused on could be. They understand that the Ripple and SEC case, what was that even about? I mean, come on. It doesn't make much sense in my opinion because logically speaking, why would XRP be a security? That makes no sense in my opinion because if, let's say, hypothetically, I were to acquire XRP, right? Does that mean that I automatically acquire a part of Ripple? No, that doesn't mean that. So how is that a security? It makes no sense from the beginning. I've never believed that it was a security ever. So again, I just don't see why people were kind of, not really caring about those type of projects. But even besides that, I did care about it. My strategy is going to stay the same. Anytime I acquire income, I'm going to be acquiring XPR, holding and just waiting because I'm not giving up. I think this board could be very special and I think better days are ahead. And I think that, again, when you have a market that massive with that, I should say, few competitors, I think XPR could be a big narrative during this board. Only time will tell, but I'm willing to wait and see. And again, 25 cents wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.